After following all of these incredible acts, thank you so much, Howard, for having me. Nathan. All right, I'm just going to go right. Okay, that big tree is big. They cut such big trees down, the trees that got to grow up have grand trees. Maybe it remembers its pine cone penis quivering at the pine-needled ground. A slight breeze shifting the needles like that gorgeous redhead by the creek, solar plexus rays and all that, turning her face into shiny fish scales. Maybe the tree regaled her with stories of the war and she'd say, how terrible but brave. It couldn't tell everything though, could it? So it expressed emotion the best way it knew how. The pine cone orgasmed its pine cone seeds unprotected. They descended maybe like a potato bug until, well, you've got a toddler on your hands. The saplings have changed, new generation, new forms of heartbreak. The big old trees now haunt, concerned, covered in their luminous strings of lights. They can't do anything but watch from the afterlife, pinned and conjoined to its lover, the ground. And it can never stretch its roots to hold hands. They just watch as the saplings look over the very tall mountains at the lopsided houses. Cats proffer a whiff of their piss in exchange for a robin's egg. And the saplings, they feel scared and lost, well, like saps really. And they don't want to be in this place looking over coal seams. They sit there and think about how good it would be to get their branches on some high potency stuff. Well, the youth, they call them twinkle lights these days, like an incandescent set. Yeah, the good stuff. Maybe it would work. Magic on the sloping hill and the deep divot in the dirt, and would all suddenly be beautiful. And the saplings could finally cry their dark but sweetly earnest, sugary tears. Just a little context for this poem. I'm adopted, and Nathan asked me to read this poem. It's pretty rough, but I wasn't adopted until I was a little older, and my mom tells me this story about my biological mother handing me over to this stranger at Riverfront Park at 3 a.m. in the morning. And so this is a poem to that stranger. And also there's this dog that lives on my street. It's also about that dog. To the stranger, you should know about the chow, the short tether, watching the girl enter and exit the house that is barely bigger than a doghouse. The mange dog watches her throw the ball into the sky and catch it, the chow there, no matter the time of day or night. I drive by the particle board house with neighboring rams and untethered sheepdog. He watches her into kindergarten, watching her into middle school. The fur clumped around the stoop where he rests his head. He glances as I drive, and stranger, this is the rumination. This is the stoop, the chow, the girl, the question. Do you call it ASPCA? Do you dial that number and say, there is a little girl, no wait, there is a child tethered with just a foot of line, and the black nose and the eyes, you know those eyes that love unconditionally, and that girl throws a ball. No, she does not throw a ball. And there are even more rams and a sheep, and they nuzzle the clumped fur, and it statically clings to their wool, a hybrid ram child, and they are gargantuan in fur and wool, and as white as clouds. The child places a daisy behind the horn and kisses the ram, and the girl, and the screen door shuts, and it clangs, and the dog's ear is by it, and it is confusing. Is it the girl's voice upset? Is it angels with one foot in the afterlife, one foot on the stoop, or the hawks he watches collect the vulnerable chickens? But it is no voice, and maybe it's his own voice, taut in the collar, clanging. But stranger, stranger, it is you. It is you, the sound the child hears on the tether, waiting, the stranger by Heritage Riverfront Park at 3 a.m., the car in the vacant parking lot. Why were you there, stranger? Was the river calling to you then? Did it smell not like trash and puke? Was the smell salvation 30-odd years ago? Did the ripples dance? Was it a full moon? Was there an argument? Were you wearing the same pants you'd worn yesterday, stranger, when the young mom, barely older than the girl with the ball, handed you the baby through the window? So so she could huff paint with her boyfriend. She did not even open the door. You rolled down the window, and the diapered bottom squeezed through, the exhaust sputtering in the back. It was winter. Did a sheet of ice float by in the hours, foretelling the future of the young mother and the baby in your lap? I'm going to read one more. Another poem about not knowing who my father is until way later, which is weird. We're friends, but that's a new thing. Father myth. I've got his left-sided grin, this blonde man stooped in the Florida heat, flannel open, frayed Converse, his dry, sooty, chewed to nubs mechanic's hands. The sun beating down over the landscape for stories about the Formosan termite that can eat through concrete. And the blonde man from Kentucky is here, under the same sun as me, but now called Florida sun because that is where the man resides. At this moment in time, so the sun is now reoriented to him, where the atmosphere scatters the sunbeams like lightning's gentler brother. And the blonde man's nearest relative is in some bungalow cul-de-sac passed out on pills. Little T shuffling board hangs with the cool uncle, the hackabator, the trim tart for Disney, he'd say, in those glory days of trimming yachts in Mickey's asphalt with Brazilian termite-resistant, illegally sourced teak, hardier than concrete. But now, a 1978 Cadillac Athena hearse, marketed as a funeral coach, is jacked up and boxes him in a long shadow, because there is no garage, just the spillings of metal and chassis in plain air. And the hearse is now 20 inches closer to heaven, and this man, just a kid who eats straight from the soup can, tries to fix this thing that transports the dead to their final resting place, this blonde Kentucky ferryman. And he doesn't know who that blonde baby was back in Kentucky. There's just the job to do, the departure, the child's coffin, the coin, and the unlanguaged mouth, ready for entrance to another life.